करके हम informal हो गए हैं.
We just need a as casual as we want.
I mean, it's just for the recording setup. Otherwise, it's a full casual talk. But how was your day? Like, how did it go?
Good, good. We have a plant here that I visited this morning, so that's nice. And so we got delayed coming here because of the
Yeah,
traffic.
there's just too much traffic today.
So it just has a
Still okay, yeah.
so yeah, we did quite plan that side of the road.
But myself and Ranjini have been hearing so much about you from Vijaya.
Oh my God.
That we were so excited to, meet you, know you in person.
Excited to be here. I think there's a lot that in general I think NPI Mindtree is doing for us for our success. And I see a lot of great women leaders in the room. And we are generally, we kick up a notch when we get to leadership from the women's perspective. So very excited to be here.
So Geeta, are we good? Let me know whenever.
Yes, we are.
start
We are good.
officially.
You can start.
Ma'am, can we just just for video purposes? Sorry for that.
That's fine. Good.
Yeah, I think you're good.
अच्छा हर एंगल से
We make sure there's plan A, B, C.
It's a casual chat between us. It's for cameras.
We just want to make sure there's plan A, B, C everywhere.
Okay. So this is actually by design because we've done it so many times, so now we know the flaws. So we have improvised and improvised.
Exactly, learn from your lessons and don't repeat it, right?
So hi everyone, welcome to this fireside chat on the topic breaking stereotypes and biases. I'm Sneha Hingorani, Director Digital Transformation at Manufacturing, and today with us we have an amazing role model, amazing woman leader, very inspiring for most of the women across the world, Sobha Mulukatra, Global CIO and VP, Information Technology Product and Supply Chain at GCI. So welcome Sobha, glad to have you here today.
Very excited to be here.
So I'll start with a quick introduction of Sobha. Sobha has always been on the IT side of the world with total experience of 29 plus years. At GCI, she is the VP and CIO for global products and global supply chain. With a focus on digital transformation, Sobha creates opportunities for efficiency and process improvements in business practices globally. Prior to Johnson Controls, Sobha held numerous leadership positions and helped successfully transform many organizations. During those years, she managed complex transformation programs for manufacturing companies, including ERP modernization, engineering, and supply chain transformations. Sobha earned an electrical engineering degree from BIET in India, Bapuji Institute of Engineering and Technology. She is known for her cheerful nature and has a lot of bright ideas always. And when not working, she loves to explore local restaurants and has a passion for music of all genres. Welcome Sobha to this forum. We are glad to have you here and so excited to hear about your journey, about your vision and goals. With that, coming to today's topic. The foundation for our organizations, our workplaces is people. And people come from various, diverse backgrounds, whether that be culturally, by race, by age, by gender, etc. And today we are here to discuss that how we perceive impacts our overall, growth, our overall achievements, our engagements, our performance. Today's topic focuses on breaking the stereotypes and biases and going by the facts, not by the perceptions or by the diversity, giving equal opportunities to all. And we are here to listen from you that how your journey has been, what are your goals and aspirations, what stereotypes you have faced, how you have overcome those biases and come such a long way in leadership. That's what we are here to hear about, Sobha. So any initial thoughts on the topic before I get going to the questions I have?
I think everyone's journey is very different, right? We first need to understand and have a plan for where we are wanting to go individually, right? As we go through our careers, and I had the same thing, right? Did I expect myself to be in this role for probably not. If you asked me 15 years ago, probably not. But as I've matured through it, I've figured out that each of us possesses something that we bring to the table that the other person doesn't have. And how do you kind of capitalize on that and move forward, right? So I think my journey is no different than probably a lot of you guys that are sitting on around here. Um, it's not been easy, but at the same token, it has always been fun and challenging. And there's always some good takeaways I have anywhere I go and everything I do. Um, do it with passion.
So we know you visited a plant this morning. So coming to our first question, it is kind of linked with that. So you started your career in, you have been in manufacturing industry, and this is pretty much not where we see a lot of women leaders around. So how have your journey been, and how have you navigated, and what challenges have you faced? How have you navigated through that and overcome those stereotypes and biases?
So a lot of my career has been in manufacturing industry, but that's not really the only industry I've worked with, right? As I was going through my career, I've been a consultant most of my life. What that, the advantage, so as you guys, right? So this team is primarily mostly consultants. And the advantage that you get being a consultant is you have the ability to work with multiple clientele and kind of learn from how everyone thinks and how everyone operates, the multiple personalities that you think through, right? So for me, uh, early part of my career actually was that, being a consultant and going to clients' places and really understanding a little bit, very early in my career, right? So it was like, when someone says, we need to do this, and there's not a broader agreement, just watching from the side as to what the conversations were helped me. And as I came into the manufacturing industry, it was manufacturing in the aerospace and defense sector, which has its own regulations and limitations and biases around things. What really I started doing was understanding the environment a little bit, right? Obviously, I'm on the IT side, supporting manufacturing. The business teams always feel that they add more value, and as an IT organization, we don't really add as much value. So how was I, if I were to turn those conversations around, what would that look like, right? So kind of try to play that scenario a little bit in my head. Building a relationship. There's always a scenario where someone thinks that, they know more than you. That's fine, right? But at the same token, build a relationship to understand what they are thinking, what they are planning, what they are doing. And even when I was upstairs, I was telling somebody, telling the team that if you put yourself in their shoes, right, from a business leader's perspective, you kind of understand what they are wanting. Their tone of what they are saying is different than probably what they are wanting, right? So for me, I started repeating what I'm hearing when they are telling me something, to be, okay, if this is what you're wanting, and this is how I can enable it, right? So turning the conversation away from who I was to what I could do, what I could deliver. So that's how I've always navigated, even today, that's how I navigate in terms of making sure I'm listening more, I try to understand. So as it comes to whether it is a decision I have to make, whether it is a discussion around where do I go next from an implementation perspective, or which factory do I go next, it comes down to them wanting more from me versus me asking them to do something. So that's why.
Yeah, so maybe wearing that consultant hat in your initial years, and then observing people, having more of listening skills, and also having that clarity of thought and communicating that back. Bridging the gap of IT to business has been how you have overcome the challenges and navigated this.
I'm still overcoming, but yes.
Okay. So moving on, can you throw some light on the strategies you employed to overcome biases in your leadership role? So you talked about your earlier days being a consultant, and how you're navigating now. But now being in the leadership role, what are other challenges you're facing as you become more senior, and you have to be on those business calls or take some business decisions. So what strategies are helping you in this leadership role that you're having now?
I think strategies will need to vary depending on what one you're trying to achieve, right, in terms of business capabilities and aspects around that. And two, in terms of making sure you're still trying to deliver something that's relevant in the organization you're in, right? The industry may be going someplace else, but the organization may not be ready, right? Let's take Gen AI as an example. Everyone's jumping like headfirst into it. Our organization, we are also jumping into it, but only from an applicability aspect of things. So it's the same thing, right? At the transformation side of the world, how do we understand and where do we go from it? So for me, the strategy differs kind of which hat I'm wearing and which leader I'm talking to, and really putting a plan together that's more meaningful for them, right? And the biggest thing that I do is empower my team to really be that bridge, right? Because as a leader, you cannot be everywhere. As a leader, you cannot take all the decisions, and I don't know if I want to take all the decisions, right? There may be things that I don't understand enough to be able to take that decision. So for me, relying on my team and making sure empowering them, but at the same token, holding them accountable, right, is one way that I strive in my leadership role to make sure they have a voice and their voice is being heard. And then taking their feedback with the leadership that they levels that they have worked with, and showcasing it to the top leaders, right? Wins are something that we women don't always try to showcase. So investing in that, investing in showcasing our wins, our team's wins, is one way where you start gaining the trust from the leadership, because we generally don't do that. And so be observant, right, in the room, and I do that sometimes. I'm fortunate to have a lot of strong women leaders always in my career. So try to make sure and understand what they're doing, right? What it is that, what one or two things you'll take away from them that might make you a better person and that might get you to that next level that you're wanting to go. Because everyone's strategy, I mean, I can't copy someone's,
Yeah.
right? So I can't become someone else that I'm not. So that is very important in trying to make sure that you understand where you want to go, you understand what your leader's strategy is, and how can you enable them, and how can you make them successful. So if you have conversations along those lines, I think the gender bias is already left at the door, right? So because you're talking business, you're talking capability enablement, you're talking about how to make them successful. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So the key points you said were, just to take away, is that user-based and persona-based strategy is what you adopt based on the situation, based on the user persona you are dealing with, and also you learn from observation. So you have learned from your leaders around, and then you absorb that and convert that into your business loss when it comes to it.
You've said it much more eloquently than I
No,
have.
I'm just summarizing it what you said. I'm learning on the way.
But that's exactly right, because no two people are alike.
Yeah.
So just because my formula worked with you doesn't mean it's going to work with someone else.
But as you said, you have to learn and you have to observe, you have to learn and maybe try it out and see what goes in what situation, and you learn.
Adapt.
Valuables. Yeah, you adapt. Going forward, we wanted to know a few things about how you are handling things in JCI around diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, what are the key initiatives, programs running at JCI right now, and how do you at JCI continue to build next gen pipeline, and how do you ensure that there are women leadership in future, and you're training and mentoring the next gen leaders to take up those roles?
So let me answer. From a JCI perspective, we have a lot of what we call employee resource groups, businesses. So we have a few dedicated to the women in manufacturing, women in tech aspects around that. So we do a lot of give back in terms of community. JCI is really very diverse, even at the leadership level. If my boss, Diane Schwartz, is also a very powerful female leader that I look up to. A lot more leaders that we support. So I think JCI kind of emulates a lot of what the diversity aspect of it stands for sure. From an inclusion perspective, I make sure everyone in my team feels like they're part of a broader organization, broader community. Minimizing hierarchies, having more one-on-one conversations, being very friendly. I mean, the title is meaningless, right? So for me, inclusion is irrespective of gender, right? Getting that transparency going, being candid, holding each other accountable. I have, as much as I say my team, I hold my team accountable, they have to hold me accountable because I may be changing my direction on them very often, and that's not then I can't hold them accountable at that point, right? So for me, there are a lot of these simple things, very small things. If you start inculcating in your daily aspect of things, the inclusion part of it should not be a concept that we are talking about or we are preaching. So it just needs to be part of your life, right? No need to put someone away. I mean, there are always certain elements that we will have to keep it close to our chest. But 95% of things that we deal with, there's no confidentiality around it. There is nothing. You're not breaking any rules by making sure your team's included at any level of the organization. So I try to do that. You have to go talk to my team to say if they feel that or not. But that's to me how I drive inclusion side of the work. Now you asked the question around how do
Next
we
gen leadership,
next gen leadership and how do we take them to the next level. So for me, what I try to do as we get more and more interns that we are hiring or early careers that we are hiring, and even in some cases, I've been in part of organizations where we have hired high school students, so students in 11th and 12th that actually are part because they get to experience what they want to do. Um, there's a big push for women in STEM now, right? So as part of these intern hires, early career hires, or even hires at every level, we actually, I push back when I don't see a diverse candidate, right? We need to all make that attempt ourselves, right? And invest in them. So what I do is I bring in, I push back and I hire that. I also go to schools and colleges and talk about why it's important and how we can bring that change in terms of, being a visible leader, being out there, being outspoken around, it's possible for all of us, right? If they see more of us, then more of the next gen is going to aspire to be one of us. So for me, I do some of that. I go out and speak at schools to try and encourage kids to go into STEM and figure out and mentor a lot, right? So I mentor a lot of women outside of my work also to start sharing my experiences and how they can leverage and how they can then give back to the broader community side of the world. So as women, I think we can do more for each other. We can actually promote this and sky's the limit, right? So there's no reason for us to hold ourselves back. And that's what I try to inculcate in the young leaders and young female leaders that are wanting to join the organization and are sometimes worried, where will this journey take them, right? So.
So you said it very well, actually. 2 points you mentioned. One is small steps. I mean, rather than having big initiatives or, a lot of things around it, a jazz around it, just small steps on a daily basis and being more inclusive, trusting your team, making them accountable, being accountable yourself. So, and minor steps like that makes the environment more inclusive. And also, kudos to you that you're encouraging so many women around. And like today's session is testimony to it that you've taken out time when you were on official visit to do this. So I can see that, and you're inspiring all of us here that everyone should do more of this apart from what is meant to be done on the official basis. We should go out and actually make this a cause and a purpose.
Yeah, we all did something for ourselves, right? So there's, the next gen should go a step farther,
Yeah,
in my
definitely.
opinion.
So actually, last year I was attending one of the Gartner's conference, and there, there was similar as you were mentioning. They had done a research on the, lessons from the career of women CXOs. And as per that research, what they have mentioned is that, you know, there's a lot of inpush, when in women in STEM now, in the overall educational sector, we see a lot of influx even coming when at the trainee level, intern level, and mid-management and so on. But it kind of declines when you go to the VP level, CXO level, and so on, the senior leadership levels. And that's where they were saying that the need of the hour is mentorship and sponsorship from your leaders around who have seen that, been there, experienced that. So while mentorship is all about knowledge, and advocacy is and allyship is all about providing support. Sponsorship is all about advocacy and extending those right opportunities at the right time, with the right skill set person. So how do you see both these concepts of mentorship and sponsorship, and who were your, how can you share what experience you have with your mentors or sponsors, and how they have propelled your career overall?
I mean, I've really been fortunate to have very strong women leaders as my mentors. Again, as I mentioned, right, I was a consultant for a majority of my career, and for a good portion of it, I was a freelancer too, right? So I was working for myself and aspects around that. There was this, there was this one client, the aerospace and defense client I was working on, where I met a leader that was very persistent on making sure, I need to join the organization to have a career aspects around that. Her name is Denise McKnight, and she's been my first biggest mentor, a supporter that helped me navigate through my career. And the thing that she taught me was, having a mentor is one thing, right? Whether it's someone that you look up to and aspects around that. But how do you take the feedback that they're giving you and start showing that you are taking the feedback and your actions are reflecting that you're tweaking something? So whether it's behavior, whether it's how you present yourself or what you say in a room full of senior leaders. So she gave me feedback, and she made sure that she was continuously giving feedback. A lot of times, what happens is a mentor gives you feedback the first time and the second time. If you're not showing anything, they're not going to be invested in you because you haven't quite done that, right? So for me, she's the one that really gave me feedback to help improve a lot of the things. We all bring our strengths, right? So my strength was I was very strong in delivering transformations, but not quite strong in presenting myself in a leadership forum or aspects around that. So fortunate enough that she taught me some of that, some of the very small nuances, and it is really very small tweaks that we have to do to ourselves to be able to stand up and be that, why should someone look at me and what I bring to the table, right? That's what it's all about. And then obviously Diane, who's my boss, is also my mentor, and I look at both of them and I've learned a lot, right? Each career was very different, but they have left a lasting impression on how I need to navigate in terms of what that is, right? Now, when you talked about sponsorship, a sponsorship doesn't have to be a woman leader, right? Sponsorship is someone that you believe is going to take you to that next level of leadership or that promotion that you want or that next, to being a team lead. It doesn't matter where you are. So for me, what I feel is uh, when you leave the room, if you have more people that talk about you, positive things about you, and you don't need to be in the room to like stand up for yourself or you know always be there answering their concerns or questions, then you have the right sponsor and you have actually won the table over. So it's all about building those relationships and identifying who the influencers are in the organization, right? At any level of your career, including me or even as CEOs of the organization, we all are answerable to someone. And when others already know what you bring to the table, you have won the battle, right? And that's the same thing I tell most of my team is we go through performance reviews, we go through calibrations, we go through a lot of things. If I put a name out there and only one person knows the name, you are less likely to look at it because you don't understand what they bring to the table. But if I put a name out there and six of my seven leaders are talking about what they bring to the table, then I know this person is ready for that next level, right? So that's exactly the environment that we also have to build, right? Everyone gets evaluated at different levels differently. So what is it, understanding what role you're playing, whether you are an individual contributor, very early in your career, trying to understand, knowing who the influences are, whether it's in your team, right, if you're early in your career, if you're a manager, a little bit across, if you're a senior leader, a wider network across, but you are the only ones that know that. You are the ones that have to invest in yourself to figure out who the influencers are, build a relationship, showcase your wins, which most women don't do, including, I've learned, I'm still learning, I have a long way to go. Showcase your wins and stand up for each other and be advocates.
Very, very well said and very well put. That mentorship should be a feedback loop. It should not be a one-way communication and you are done with the mentorship session and forget it, and sometime down the line you say, oh, somebody said this. It is a feedback loop, and you should continuously deploy what your mentors are, teaching you or telling you to do. And
One more comment
yeah.
on mentorship that I forgot to add. Mentors are also someone that pushes you to that next level.
Yeah.
So I missed adding that. I want to make sure I get that comment in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So those are the people who are behind you, pushing you to propel to the next level. And also, you mentioned about overall sponsorship side, and you said very good thing. Like people sometimes sit and say that I don't have a sponsor and all of that. You said build your sponsors, know your stakeholders, and build them yourself. Stand for yourself, brand it, talk about your wins, and leave an impression when you leave a room that 10 people, you've already, won over a few people and there are new stakeholders supporting you. So very, very solid
Because
advice.
we are all responsible for our careers.
Yeah.
I mean, our leaders can try and create opportunities for us, but end of the day, if you want to go somewhere, you have to put in the effort, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Umar. These are very solid advice we are getting from you. And with that, if we can take a few questions from the audience as well.
Sure.
So anyone would like to?
Maybe I.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So when a young woman joins, manufacturing, what would be your advice to them, especially when they are facing some challenges in terms of stereotypes and biases?
I always say, especially the manufacturing industry, it's extremely important to go walk the floor. Understand exactly what's happening there, right? Especially with most of us in IT, we tend to dream up solutions that may not be applicable to that environment, right? So it's important to go out there so they can also see you in terms of you're putting in the effort to understand. So when you come back with something, they're going to at least have a listening ear, right? And then you can have the conversation. That's the one big thing that most IT team does not do is go and walk the floor to understand, am I doing it to make sure they get the benefit from it, or am I doing it because I've standardized everything and I'm rolling
standardization is key, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't standardize, but also make sure you're going in there and having that. So, it's no different if you're a male or a female, right? But from an early career, if you walk the floor, you truly start appreciating all the aspects of manufacturing. The supply chain is a key element, right? How do you make sure the right parts get to the right station at the right time? And how do you ensure that you have the OEEs captured, the time tracked correctly, I mean, it's an ocean in itself, right? Even if you start understanding one or two critical elements of it, whether it's master scheduling or MRP, any one of those, right? I highly encourage my early careers to truly invest in understanding processes. Technology will come automatically. If you understand the process, you actually will be able to make better decisions that is going to take the team you're supporting farther, much faster too.
And get your hands dirty and identify gaps to bring into utilization.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So I have a question. You were mentioning about, we have heard interns definitely join the company, but I was very impressed by hearing that, high school students also are coming and joining, and at the very early stage, they are able to understand, even with respect to diversity or with the kind of corporate working style. So can you share some kind of success story if you have from that to some leaders they have reached out or some level they have reached out?
So I have a couple that actually I have mentored over the course of, they were not in high school at that time when they came to me, they were just graduated from college and they started this program. And I've been mentoring them for a long time. And I quit the organization, they were still there, we continued the mentoring relationship and all of that. And I created an opportunity for two of them to be first-time managers. Right? Because you see the potential, you hire for the potential, and why not? And I've been very, it's very satisfying to see their career flourish. And they both are doing really good right now, and are still progressing through their career. I still mentor them, I'm still there for them. And it just is, sometimes even my mentor taught me, right? We don't know our potential. Our leaders and our mentors know our potential. So sometimes the pushing, right, giving them more, and that's how I help train them. And everyone's potential is different. So understanding that as a mentor and pushing them for where you know their potential is, right? So that's extremely important. Because my Denise always said, oh, you're going to go you're going to go do great things, and I didn't know what that meant. Right? It was like, okay, yeah, you're making me work 60-hour weeks. I don't know what greatness looks like right now. But that's what it is all about, right? So pushing them pushing us to be something that we cannot see, right? Because we are like so tactical and so this deliverable focus when you're younger, you don't necessarily appreciate. But now I appreciate it quite a bit.
Thank you so much.
So that's such a nice, amazing role model. I was just observing while you're talking that it's not like you're just taking and observing the mentorship which others are giving, you're also giving back to the next, pipeline which is coming in for the future leadership. So everyone should even take that trait or aspect of it, that not just absorb or take from the people around you, also give back to the next generals who are coming in.
And that's how you get the next gen leaders.
Yeah. And I think you also learn in the process, right? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I have, with the disruptive technology and aspects around that, I actually now look up to the younger generation a little, so that I can learn from them. Sometimes, they bring so many ideas that, with the changing technology that I can't keep up with. I'm like, oh wow, that's great, right? I do that with my kids too. Just go ask them. I mean, I have grown-up kids, so I go ask them, how do you do this? And they're like, you don't even know this, and kind of, there's an app for that, there's this thing for that. So, it's hard.
So rely on the younger generation because there's a lot that they bring to the table that we don't.
Yeah, it's like experience marrying the new technology side of it, and that's how you make the overall thing holistic.
Exactly.
So anybody wants to go?
One
Yeah,
question. So, Shobha, any advice you wish the 15-year-old Shobha had?
So, the only thing I would say is just have a plan and push yourself, right? I don't think I had a plan till I was very late in my career. So I was into my 40s when I actually joined an organization that helped me drive a career, right? If I had done that in my 20s, I'm not sure whether this would have been for my career, for the better or the worse, but it is what it is. But always continue to push yourself, right? It's extremely important, and not giving up. So it's no. I mean, we always have obstacles that are thrown at us. I was giving an example upstairs when we were talking. I had a meeting uh, that I looked at the time incorrectly, and the meeting was supposed to start at 5:30. I thought it was at 5:30, but it was at 5. It was a very, very important meeting for me. I could have panicked and like not done my best, but just that it wasn't in my hands. So I always, I don't know if I would go back. I don't know what advice I would give, but advice I would give now is, figure out a way to handle any situation that's thrown at you, and try to come out on top of it. Because there are a lot of people that are looking for that one opportunity to start pointing, and why give them anybody any opportunities? Because we are all very strong leaders, and we can come out stronger. We multitask quite a bit, so why can't we take one extra curveball thrown at us from an unexpected work event? Why can't we come out strong?
So that's exactly why we were thinking of you while we were thinking of this topic, that you will genuinely inspire all of us, because the entire career journey has been so amazing, because as you rightly mentioned, like you were doing the consulting and freelancing in your earlier part of life, and then after 40s you joined an organization, and many women, this will be very inspiring for many women listening us, because we take sabbaticals.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are maternity leaves, sometimes people do leave because they are caregivers and so on. And then they don't have, maybe sometimes they need that inspiration or motivation to come back. And people at, like in their mid 30s, 40s will think that, I mean, it's okay, like, should I need a join organization? Who will take me? What will be the next steps? So you said it very right that you need to have that plan, and doesn't matter where you are. If you want to follow your plan, follow your dream, go with it, and things will fall in place.
Yeah, that's been my plan.
Yeah.
Without a plan.
So with that, we will turn to our rapid fire section. So are you ready for that?
I'm as ready as I can be, right? Because I have no idea what you're going to throw at me.
So you said curveballs. So few curveballs coming your way. Okay. So what's one stereotype about women in leadership that you have personally shattered?
That we can be successful both personally and professionally.
Perfect. Your role model?
Denise McKnight, my mentor at Bell.
One word to describe the impact of diversity on innovation.
Yeah. I think this the thought leadership that the diversity brings into anything that we do, right? Any idea that we bring to the table. I think that's what I feel would be something, and you've completely thrown me off on innovation and diversity. So I'll have to come back to that. The thought leadership from a diversity perspective is definitely something different.
Yeah, correct. Because the diverse people bring diverse thought, and that's how ultimately will lead to innovation. But yeah, I also can't find one word. I'm with you. So, what is secret talent of yours, which we all are not aware of?
I cannot sing, that's for sure. So I do a lot of impromptu things without a plan in place. So I taken my daughter for her 18th birthday. She wanted to go skydiving,
Okay.
and I just did it with her. I had no
Wow.
plans.
Wow.
I was like, okay, you're doing it. I have to sit there for 3 hours anyway, so I'll do it. So, but just very very impulsive in some cases, but it is always very fruitful to see whether how I'll come out on the other side, because I wasn't sure what it would be. So just enjoy life.
Yeah.
Right.
Keeps you that enthusiasm on. Right. Okay. So, what is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Be your authentic self. No need to change you for who you're not.
Awesome. How do you relax?
Huh. Not in a very meaningful way, right? I watch TV, watch movies, and I do listen to old Hindi songs quite a bit.
Oh, nice. Okay, so top one bucket list item in your life as of now.
To actually go to Manasar, that I'm not been to.
Wow. Best of
Hopefully,
luck for that.
hopefully it'll work out before I get too old.
Your favorite vacation spot?
Favorite vacation spot? There's not really one favorite one. I do visit India very often because of family. So this is one place where I feel really comfortable. Um, I was in Dubai. I was very surprised what I saw in Dubai. But my favorite part would be to go to a beach place and just put my feet up and turn my phone off. It could be any beach. It is
Okay, so two fun choices coming your way. Pearls or diamonds?
diamonds,
Heels or sneakers?
sneakers.
Yeah, we can see that. Okay, so with that note, coming to the end of this session, if you could change one thing about how society views women in tech, what would that be?
That we are no different than a man,
Perfect.
and we bring the same value, same dedication, and there was thought leadership to it.
Awesome. Very well put. Very well summarization of this entire topic. So, any other closing thoughts about you would like to leave the audience with?
The one thing that we as women leaders can do is be an advocate for each other and lean on each other for our strengths. Right? We all bring something different to the table, and we can all be there for each other and lift each other up and show each other ways and learn. And what worked for one, share it. Right? There may be someone in the room that can take something away from it and help them go to the next level. So just build a stronger community so we can go farther.
Yeah. Build your allies and build your network and help each other. Yeah. So thank you so much, Soma. This was so amazing session, so energetic, so enthusiasm. We saw from all the audience, from you, and it was so inspiring to hear your story and to understand that it's not always necessary to have a plan or a plan A or a plan B. You can sometimes be impromptu, go with the life, but the intent should be correct. That you have to learn, you have to grow, and you have to, while you absorb and take from your mentors, you have to give back as well. So awesome, learnings which we are taking away, and I'm sure the audience and everyone enjoyed listening to you.
I'm very excited and really honored to be here. So if I can inspire one person, then I've really achieved a little bit more than what I came here to do.
I'm sure everyone in the room, except for, and also the audience will be listening this fireside chat. I'm sure you have inspired many across the globe today.
And you can all reach out to me at any time for any advice.
Thanks so much, Subha, for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice having you here. It was an honor talking to you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I guess we are good. Any more questions on the camera you can ask right now?